Friends, we venture once again into the stratosphere of 80s/90s gaming with Space Harrier 2. The sequel is a success in life, but it has nothing to do with it. Sega decided to add an extra dose of psychological and robotic drag, fueled by the power of the Sega Genesis.
Oh yes, because if the first Space Harrier didn't give you enough headaches, the sequel is here to finish you off. But wait, friends, there's more. Now there's a plot. Or at least, something that looks like it. Our hero Harrier has apparently returned to save the fantasy zone once again. Again. But from what, exactly? Nobody knows, but hey, who cares? Let's just shoot.
Yes, the plot is always on the razor's edge, but it's the gameplay that counts. Now, Space Harrier 2 brings with it some good news. New enemies, new worlds, and some graphic improvements compared to the first. For example, sprites are a little bigger, more defined, and everything looks more, brighter. More colorful, more chaotic.
Brilliant? I'd say it feels like an even messier hallucinogenic trip. I mean, look. Each level is an explosion of absurd colors, with textures that make my old CRT TV look like a modern work of art. But, I admit, there's something fascinating about it. It's like looking at a Kandinsky painting while trying not to crash into an enemy you can't even understand what it is.
But that's the beauty of it. Every time you think you've seen it all, the game throws, I don't know, some kind of mutant fireball at you, followed by a giant hand that tries to crush you. Space Harrier 2 takes no prisoners, guys. Here it's all a constant visual bombardment, and things come at you at crazy speeds.
Yes, crazy is the right word. Because the obstacles are literally coming from all directions and, spoiler alert, there's no time to think about it too much. And let's not forget the controls, which are still a little, let's say, fluid slippery. Yes, Harrier always seems to have the grace of a whale on a scooter, but at least he's consistent.
Okay, the controls can be a little difficult to handle, but that's what makes the game challenging. And then there's a big new feature in Space Harrier 2, ground mode. Now, in addition to flying at ridiculous speeds, you can also walk.
Yes, because what's better than going from a crazy flight to an equally awkward walk? Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have a gameplay variation, but the feeling you get is still the same. You're in a giant pinball machine, and your character is the ball trying desperately not to bounce off everything.
But there's more. The boss battles are epic. Each boss is bigger and badder than the last. There's this giant deer monster that chases you shooting laser beams from its eyes, and then another one that looks like a chimera made of, well, I'm not sure what it's made of, but it's certainly disturbing.
Epic? Or terribly frustrating? Because, let's face it, these bosses are no joke. Before you figure out how to dodge their attacks, you've already been pulverized. And the strategy is more or less always the same, move in zigzag as if your life depended on it, because, spoiler, it really depends.
But come on, it's that level of challenge that makes it fun. And then, look here, the graphics. Okay, it's 1989, we're still in 16-bit, but the pseudo 3D effect is improved compared to the first game. They perfected the sprite scaling technique, so everything seems to come at you more smoothly.
Smooth as a shopping cart with a broken wheel. I mean, yes, it's an improvement over the first one, but we're not talking about Outrun here. At times, it feels like the console is struggling to maintain pace while everything is moving at speed crazy. There are moments when there are so many objects on the screen that the console almost seems to beg for mercy.
True, but it has to be said that for a launch game on the Genesis, it really did the job. Space Harrier 2 was one of the games that made you say, wow, look what this console can do. There's speed, there's action, and the soundtrack? Even more epic than the first chapter. Punching, rhythmic music makes you feel like you're in the middle of the action.
Yes, perfect for relieving a headache. Jokes aside, the soundtrack is good, but after a while it gets a bit repetitive. But at least it's not as annoying as the one in the first game. Extra points for that, Saw.
In conclusion, guys, Space Harrier 2 is a worthy sequel, full of fast-paced action, improved graphics, and a challenge that will make you sweat. If you love fast-paced arcade shooters and are not afraid of a bit of visual chaos, this game is for you.
If you love impossible challenges and controls that make you want to throw the controller, then yes, this game is for you. It's a piece of video game history, with all its strengths and weaknesses.
Exact. So, fire up your Sega Genesis, get ready to fly, and, as always, welcome to the Fantasy Zone. Get ready.
And remember, bring some patience with you. You'll need it.